everybody, and welcome to Storm Reads. And today I'm going to be starting the beginning of my weekly reading vlog. It is Sunday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought, best do it now, tell you what I'm getting ready to work on. I'll just tell you it isn't anything that you haven't already seen on the other ones, because I'm just not getting things finished like I would like, but that's okay. I have started my eBay business of trying to resell, and so I'm spending a lot more time doing that. Thank goodness for audiobooks, because I will be able to at least listen to audiobooks while I do that kind of stuff. Taking photographs and listing takes a lot of time, and so I have to delegate my time now, and so that's going to have to come first, and then whenever I have time to read, I will do that. So I can see my reading going down, especially if it's an ebook or a physical book, but that's okay. And so with that, I'm going to tell you all the books that I am currently in the middle of, which are all physical books. So I have Revenge for the Duchess by Sarah Orwig, and I am, let's see, I'm almost halfway through. I am 106 pages in. It's been very interesting so far and kind of fun. It definitely has this like Beauty and the Beast type vibe to it. And the Duke is still kind of a monstery type, so definitely gonna be hate to love if it's their story, and I'm pretty sure it is by the way things are going, but it's just going a little different than I thought it would by this time, and so I'm really curious. And then I'm still working on Onika and the Academy of the Sun by her. I cannot pronounce that. And so far it's okay. I mean, I am almost halfway through this one too, so hey, we're doing good. It's kind of your basic kid finds out they got superpower. Mother like ships her off to this Academy of the Sun. The only thing that's a little different would be she took her there because her powers, they can really harm her if she doesn't get them in control, and like every time she uses them she ends up having to like throw up, she gets sick, so she's got to learn how to control it. They call it, I mean what I think it's called is Ike, I-A-K-E, so I don't know, but anyway, it's what they call their power, and she has to get it under control. Meanwhile, her mother has left her there because she wants to go try to find what might have happened to her father and her mother's husband, because like they haven't heard from him in a long time, but since now they found out that she's going to have these powers, she needs to go find him. I don't know why they split up. I don't know what has to do with that. But that's kind of like the mother's quest. She is off trying to find more information about him, because I think it has something to do with why she has the powers, maybe. And so she's been left with these people she doesn't know and trying to control her power. The Big O Chunky, Never Seen by Shannon Messenger, and I still haven't gotten that far. I'm just not really into it. I'm not into I don't know. I was hoping that this one would make me like really interested in it, but I think the last one just fell so flat that I just don't really have that much of interest into jumping into this one so soon. And so yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with this one, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to get this one done before the end of the month. I can tell you that. So yeah, those are the 3 physical books that I have going right now. And so I am currently listening to, there we go. It's such a pretty cover, but you can't see it very well. There we go. So I am currently listening to Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I am probably close to being halfway through, if not halfway. Gotten to the good stuff. I will admit, her whole like schooling part to me was kind of boring. It was whenever I first read it. It starts getting pretty good for me whenever she gets her first commission to be the governess for the little French girl and meets Mr. Rochester. That's the part I like. And so we are into that good stuff. So I'm pretty sure I will finish this one up pretty quick. And I think that's pretty much everything that I have going as of right now. I'm sure I will incorporate more audiobooks within the week. I just don't know what they are right now. It's kind of going to be like an eeny, meeny, miny. Whatever might be going back on Overdrive soonest and things like that. So, yeah. So, okay. So that's pretty much what's going on right now, and I will come back on whenever I finish something. Hello everybody, and welcome to Tuesday. And I am here to talk about 2 books that I have finished. Both of them were audiobooks. One of them is a read-along that Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books is doing. She's doing the Penderwick series, and so I thought I'd give the second one a try since I read the first one last month. And so this is the Penderwicks on Gardem Street by, I think it's Jean Birdsall, maybe, I think. I'm not quite sure. I'm never quite sure about the first name. But anyway, I give this 3 stars. I thought it was okay, but it was just kind of average. It's not really my kind of thing. It's contemporary, middle grade, and basically it was about the Penderwick girls and them at home. Their father, well, their aunt had a letter from his wife that had passed on several years ago. I think it was like maybe 4 years ago or something like that. And it had a date that she was supposed to give this letter to him at a certain time. And so it is that time to give him the letter, which pretty much says that she wants him to date. And so here she is, the aunt's trying to set him up with some dates. So the girls aren't real sure about it, so they've decided to try to set him up with some women that they don't think he'll like to try to persuade him not to date. There's a new neighbor that has moved in with her baby boy, and she seems like super nice and everything, and she's really smart, like an astrophysicist or something like that. I mean, just really smart. And Sky really likes her, and everybody seems to really get along with her, you know. And so I kind of had a feeling, you know, where things might go. But yeah, so it was funny because like the father, after a few disastrous dates, all of a sudden he told the aunt that he was he'd found somebody. Her name was Mary Ann, and he's dating Mary Ann, and everything, and he's went on several dates, but I had a suspicion that there was like no Mary. But you know, he just wanted people to leave him alone. He didn't really want to. And so basically that's what this book was about, his dating life, how the girls are not really sure that they want this kind of thing for him, trying to come to terms with all that. And, of course, just some other odds and ends. Sky and Jane, they did this thing where I'll do your homework if you do mine, because Jane was really good at writing, and Sky is really smart with numbers and things. And they switched, like, homework, and Jane, because Sky needed a play or something, and Jane's a writer, so she wrote it, but she wrote it too good, and Sky gets good grade, and also the teacher wants to have a performance of it, and so now Sky's like, oh no, what am I going to do, kind of thing. So there's some lessons in here about deceit, and things like that are good for middle graders. But like I said, I think if you like contemporary and you like the kind of day-to-day life that happens with some characters, then you'll probably really enjoy this. For me, it was just okay. I'm not saying it was bad. It was just okay. So 3 stars. And so then I listened to Lying Down by Stuart Gibbs, which is the 5th book, I believe, in the Fun Jungle series. I'm trying to work my way through that series this year. I have 2 more books to go. And this is just a really fun series about Teddy, who his parents work at the Fun Jungle, and so he is there all the time, and so he solves mysteries and things that are always involving an animal. And in this one, it's a mountain lion, and there has been a dog that had died, that was killed, and they're blaming it on this mountain lion. And the mountain lion's tagged, and they are pretty sure, like the wildlife people are pretty sure that mountain lion wasn't even anywhere around when this happened. And but the guy is determined that he is going to get this mountain lion killed or whatever. There was some kind of law, I don't remember what it is, but some kind of law where if you you can say that the animal is like dangerous, and you can get it killed. But the only thing is with that law is that sometimes, I mean, how do you know which lion is which? I mean, all mountain lions to me look the same. So that just kind of gives people the run to just go, and if they see a mountain lion, shoot it, kind of thing. And so Teddy has been asked to help the wildlife people, and I can't remember their names. I want to say Tommy, and I can't remember what the girl's name is. But anyway, so they're kind of trying to help them a little bit with that. Meanwhile, there's also a mystery within Fun Jungle because somebody is poisoning the giraffes. Whether it's somebody's doing it as a prank or it's an accident, JJ, who is the owner and Summer's father, and Summer is Teddy's girlfriend, wants him to figure out what's going on. So they do like these stakeouts to try to figure out what's happening with the giraffes. It's not like killing them, it's just making them sick, and not a very nice sick. So JJ wants it fixed, and so there's that going within it. So you've got the mountain lion thing, and then you've got that, and so Teddy's trying to figure out both things. He gets himself into a little bit of trouble with the mountain lion thing and everything, but it was a lot of fun. My only thing I don't like about this one, I think as much as like the other ones, is I thought it was a little too preachy on the whole wildlife thing. I get it. This whole series is about animals that are going extinct. I didn't know mountain lions were going extinct, but evidently they are. But that's what it's about. Each one of them is about an animal and everything. This one, it was just like, it got towards the end, it got very, very preachy about wildlife protection and all that stuff, and I just don't like people preaching that stuff to me. I don't mind environmental stuff, I don't mind wildlife protection stuff, but just don't, be too preachy about it. And I thought this one kind of got a little too preachy. The other ones haven't really been that way, just this one. And then at the end, of course, there is where you find out about mountain lions and all that kind of stuff. The author always has a like a little note at the end talking about things you can do to protect, the animals and all that stuff, which I always think is good, but I just thought the story got a little preachy. But that's the only thing that I didn't really care about too much. Other than that, I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. It made me chuckle. Some of the characters in it, Marge, she cracks me up. She is always getting herself into some kind of trouble, and it's just funny.
And so yeah, I really liked it. I'm going to give this one 4 stars, just like the other ones. Even though I didn't like the preachy, I still liked it. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And I am hoping to get this one finished this week. This is like the one print book that I'm concentrating on the most. And so I only have like this little bit left to go, so I think I can do it. So hopefully I can get this one done. I'm still, I don't understand this one. I don't understand it. I think I've gotten to the part on the back about the blackmailer part. I just don't see what this has to do with the Duke and how they're gonna get to. I swear it's gotta be the Duke and her getting together, but she still doesn't like him. And I mean, I'm halfway through so I just don't know. It's not been very romantic. It's not, there's been a few kisses. The Duke has kissed her a couple of times, but a lot of times it's just to make her mad or to make her more appealing to this Marquis guy or whatever, because he's wanting to get her married off. And then there's Lord Spencer, who seems to really like her, but the Duke keeps warning her off of him, telling her to like leave him alone. And so I just don't understand. I'm still a little confused. I don't know. We're just gonna ride it out and see what happens, because it is fun. It is fun. I laugh a lot. It's a lot of fun. So we'll see. And I will be back whenever I've finished something else, and hopefully it'll be this one. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Hey everybody, it's Wednesday. Look at me go. And I finished Revenge for a Duchess by Sarah Orwig, which was what I was wanting to do. I was really close last night to getting it finished. And if it wasn't so late, I would have tried to stay up and read it, but I knew there was no way. So I finished it today. And I liked it. I give it 4 stars. A lot of stuff happens at the end. But it definitely has the kind of a Beauty and the Beast kind of feel to it. It definitely had a slow burn on the romance, because not a lot of romance or even a lean-to that happened at all, and until like almost the very end. But this is about Melissa and her father. He's a gambler, and he's kind of gotten them into a bit of debt. Ever since her mother had died, he just kind of wasted away and gambled and all that stuff. And his brother Alvin lives with them, and they're in trouble, and they're about to lose their home. And Chauncey, which is her father, thinks the only thing they can do is try to be highwaymen. And Alvin doesn't want nothing to do with it. He's like, no. But he goes along with his brother, and they are really horrible at it. And Melissa catches them one time when they were coming home, and she is not going to let them do it unless she goes along with them. She's wanting to keep an eye on them. She has been doing a lot of the day-to-day chores and things like that at the house anyway. She's not your typical like lady. She had to do all this stuff because they didn't have anybody, no servants. They couldn't afford anybody, so she did most of the stuff. And she is not going to let them get away with it. She puts on like her outfit to look more like a guy, and they go and do this, and they were they were semi-successful and everything, and they did get a few. They robbed the wrong people, and one of them that they robbed fought back, and it was the Duke of Walraven and his friend John. And he's really rough. He's not really nice at the beginning, and he's just going to send them all to Newgate, get the constable, and he's going to send them off. But John's like tried to be more level-headed, you know, because they find out that it was a woman. Well, the thing that made Walraven mad was because Melissa bit him on the leg. he has a lot of trouble with his legs and wounds in this book. This happens more than once. But he's really mad because she bit him, and I don't care if it's a girl, I'm gonna send her to Newgate or whatever. And John's like, you know, how about we do this? She has a month to try to find a wealthy husband, and if she does, then all is well. If not, you can send her and her family to Newgate or whatever it is. He's not really quite sure why he decides to agree with this, but he does it because his friend wants him to. And so they pretty much ship her and her family, or her father and her uncle, to Walraven to like stay there. And he goes, I expect you to wear your best or whatever it is. Well, she doesn't really have anything good because they're pretty poor. And so she tries to put on her best, but even her best is rags. And when she gets there to Walraven, he's like, oh, I knew it, because he's gonna have to dress her and all that stuff. So he like calls for the lady to come and, you know, measure her and make dresses. And he wants her to get her hair cut. She did not want her hair cut. That did not go over very well. He was so mean. I mean, he like held her down and like cut on her hair until he had cut most of it, and so that she had to let the hairdresser cut her hair. I mean, he was mean, and she did not like him, and that's why I was like, I'm not really quite sure how this is gonna work out. But yes, they don't get along through pretty much most of this book. But sometimes you do that kind of thing because maybe you do like someone, but you don't want to admit that you like them. And through all this stuff on her, like, you know, he just makes her so mad. She's gonna prove, you know, that, you know, him wrong. She's gonna do this or that. Just because he says it, she's gonna do the opposite and everything. And it's not till, I would say, we had about like this much left or so, somewhere around there, that she realizes, because of some things that happens, that she actually, you know, was in love with the Duke. But she's pretty sure that the Duke doesn't love her because he's still a nasty critter. And he is so mean to her, but he's really just a guy who's used to, like, keeping things in and not, you know, and he didn't want to fall in love with her. It's definitely got a little bit, to me, the Beauty and the Beast / like Pride and Prejudice, because he's like, I don't want to fall in love with her kind of a thing. Kind of reminded me a lot of Mr. Darcy and stuff like that. But yeah, then some things happen towards the end that has to do with them when they were highwaymen, and there was this one guy, Lord Nottingham, who was determined to find out who robbed him and send them to Newgate, and they were the ones that done it. So and some things happen with some other, and I won't say because maybe somebody might find this and want to read it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. It is definitely not a romance that's steamy at all. There were several kisses, and from different guys too. She gets around. Dress her up really nice and cut her hair, and all of a sudden all the guys are falling for her. There was the Marquis of Cord. There was John, the Duke's friend, who actually kind of liked her, and then of course the Duke himself, and things like that. So there was lots of kissing going around, but that was about it. So yeah, so this one's definitely more chaste and doesn't have any of the steam or anything like that. So if you like that kind of stuff, then you will definitely like this. It is a Harlequin Regency romance,
I believe Sarah said they didn't make a whole lot of these. So, if you can find one, they're kind of cool. I liked it. And so, there's that. And I am still working on all the other ones that I've talked about. I have added in a few audiobooks, though. I'm almost done with Jane Eyre. Well, almost. I'm like almost 70% into Jane Eyre. And so I'm hoping to get that one done. I kind of listen to it in the morning while I'm working on the computer. Just kind of take my time with it. Even though it's a favorite classic, I can still only handle so much classic at a time. It's not one that I can just listen all the way through. And I also started Wildfire by Ilona Andrews because my friend and Barb and I are buddy reading it, and so she's already started it, probably almost finished with it if she isn't finished. I can't remember if she said she was finished or not. But she's probably almost finished with it, so I needed to get onto that one, and it's super good. I'm really enjoying it. I really love Ilona Andrews and the writing duo. They're really good. They write these really broody men and then these like really strong women that can take them on, and I just really like it. The banter between them, it's always a lot of fun. And it's urban fantasy, and so it's just fun. And then I needed a book. I already had it on overdrive, and I needed a book that was loud enough, like, so the narrator was loud enough that when I was mowing outside today, that when I had my earbuds in, I could hear the audiobook over the lawnmower. Well, Jane Eyre nor Wildfire were loud enough. But good old Kirby Highborn, who's narrating Mouse Heart, he's loud enough. And so I started Mouse Heart. I think it's called Mouse Heart. I do not know who the author is. I didn't look before, but I will put a picture here so you can see. But I like my mouse books, my mouse adventure books, and I've never read this one. And this one came out in like 2014, and a lot of people have asked me, since I do like mouse adventure books, if I've ever read it, and I haven't. And so I had it sitting on my overdrive, so I thought, well, I'll go ahead and pop that one in. So I'm listening to that one too, and I think I got to around 35%, maybe somewhere around there. So I have that. So I have a lot of books going because I still have my 2 print books. I have 3 audiobooks. Finally finished a print book. And I started an ebook, which was Amari and the Great Games by B.B. Austin. It's the second book in the Amari and the Night Brother series. And I'm liking it so far. I haven't got really far. I'm only like probably about 6% into it. And that one's just so when I'm out and about and I don't have my, I don't want to carry my print books, then I have, it's kind of a backup. But pretty much, as long as I am doing computer work with my eBay listings and stuff like that, then I'm listening to an audiobook. So I can definitely see the audiobooks are going to be definitely increasing. I listen to a lot of audiobooks anyway, but they're definitely going to be increasing. And so I am rambling on enough, and I will pop back on here hopefully when I have finished something else. I would definitely like to get Jane Eyre finished, so hopefully that will be the next one that I pop on here and talk about. Hello everybody, it's Friday and very hot. Not as hot as some places, but it's like 93, feels like 104, so therefore the tanks have come out. I hate tanks. I don't like showing off my flabby arms, but it's hot, so you just gonna have to deal with it. But I got 3 books to talk about. I should have came on yesterday, but I forgot. And so I have 3 audiobooks that I listened to, and so I want to talk to them before I forget.
what they're all about. The first one being, see if I can get this to where it's not gonna, there we go. Hold it like this. The first one is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I read the book like back in my 20s, so this is a reread, but I listened to it instead of reading it. And I'm gonna say, I liked the audiobook and everything, but I wasn't a huge fan of, and I can't remember the narrator's name. I'll put it here if I can remember, but I didn't like her voice for like Mr. Rochester. It kind of irritated me a little bit. So I do think I prefer reading this classic than listening to it, but I wanted to try it a different way, and I still loved it. I gave it 5 stars, like always. It's really great. This is one that I just love all adaptations of it so far, movie-wise. Like, the actual adaptations. I don't know about retellings, but like the actual adaptations. My favorite will always be like a one from like, I think the 90s, which had, I think it was John Hurt in it as Rochester, but there was another one like in the early 2000s that had a guy named Toby something, and I like that one. But yeah, I've liked all of them, the older ones and newer ones. So far, they haven't did wrong with the adaptations. That doesn't count any kind of retellings. I do know that I haven't liked any of the retellings that I have read of this one. The Wife Upstairs, we are talking about you. But yeah, so yeah, I really like this one. Of course, it's about Jane Eyre, who her guardian like pretty much didn't like her, Mrs. Reed. That was her relative, but she was an orphan, and it was okay while Mr. Reed was there, but when he died, she didn't want anything to do with her, and treated her really, really bad, and pretty much just pushed her off into this place for girls, where she spent the rest of her life. I think she was really young. I don't remember exactly her age, whether it was 8 or 10 or something, but she was young. She goes there, and she stays there until she's about 18, and she actually become a teacher in that place, and then she got a job as a governess for a young girl, and at Thornfield Hall, which is where Mr. Rochester is. And the place is kind of creepy looking when she goes there, and the young girl that she has to teach is a French girl, and so it's a good thing that she is very versed in French so that they can communicate. And she is just kind of the daily ins and outs there, and Mr. Rochester is usually not there, so it was kind of slow and boring for her at first. And then the meeting of her and Mr. Rochester was kind of fun, because they meet out while she was walking, and she spooked his horse, and he was thrown and hurt himself, and so she ends up having to help him, but she doesn't know who he is, and he doesn't know who she is, though she says that, she lives in Thornfield Hall, and he's kind of like, really? Because that's where he lives, and he doesn't remember her. But, so that was kind of like their introduction to each other, which I always thought was fun. But yeah, it's a thick one. It was 23 hours on audiobook, and yeah, I liked it. I just kind of listened to it a little bit every morning until I finished it, and so yeah, I feel accomplished. I got another classic done, even though it was a reread. I'm still counting it for my classics for this year, because it had been a long time since I had read it. Then I finished my buddy read that I was doing with my friend Barb. It was Wildfire by Ilona Andrews, and this one was a lot of fun as well. Having a really good week with my books, because this one I'm also giving 5 stars to. It's the 3rd book in the Hidden Legacy series, and so to talk about what it's kind of about without spoiling the other ones is that pretty much they're living in a time where there's like this magic, and
the more powerful your magic is, the more powerful like your house is, and they're separated by houses. And if you're like super powerful, you're like the prime and like the head of a house. And Mad Rogan he's like the head of like Rogan, House Rogan, because he is like super really powerful with what he can do. And they used him in the army, and it's messed with his head because he can just like take things and like crush them or whatever with his like mind in his hand. You know, he's got this magic. And so they used him in the military, and it really messed with his head, which is why they call him Mad Rogan. His name is Connor. And in the first book is where he meets, and I done forgot her name. I knew it started with an N. It's Nevada. I don't know why I was thinking of all kinds of other ladies' names with N, but I could not think of Nevada. Okay, so yeah, and so Nevada is, she's not part of a house. They're kind of like, you know, seem to have like lower magic in her family, and they work as like a private detective agency. And after their father died, they couldn't afford to operate on their own, and so House Montgomery bought kind of them, but he lets them do their own thing, except for whenever he needs them to do something, because he doesn't want his detective agency to like be seen in that. So let's send out the lesser ones, and if they get into trouble, oh well, that's okay. So this is, and on one of those mission things is where she meets Mad Rogan. They're after the same person, and they clash head on pretty hard. They do not like each other at first at all. Especially Nevada, she does not like how he operates, because he is scary. He is like super scary, and he has a hard time controlling his magic and everything. But there is that part of her that really likes him, which is what I always say, that Ilona Andrews, the writing duo, are really good at writing these really broody alpha males and these women who can like just take them down, and I really like that. It's a lot of fun. In this third one, they are working together. They have found out like Nevada has more power than she thought she had, kind of a thing, and so this is kind of dealing with that. Also trying to stay away and keep ahead of her grandmother, because her grandmother, her father had gotten away from his mother and hid because of like the power that he knew like his family would have because of her, and but she has found out about them, and so they're trying to stay away from her. Try not to spoil too much, but that's like something that's going on in this. And there are people that are just always kind of after them, and they also get hired by this one lady whose husband has gone missing, but nobody seems to want to help her. And so Nevada and her family are trying to help, and Mad Rogan and everything. But there's a lot more to it than what I'm saying, but it's just really hard to explain without spoiling anything. Just know it's really good. I really like this series. My favorite, I think, will always be Kate Daniels, because that's my first series that I read by Ilona Andrews, but I am really, really liking this one too. And it makes me want to check out any other series that the writing duo might have, because I'm really liking this. We've got, let's see, I think there's 3 more to go in this series, and we'll be caught up to it. I don't know if it's done or not. I think the newest one, number 6, just came out this year, so I'm never sure when a book comes out if it's going to be the last one until next year. I see there's another one, so I don't know. It could be finished in it, could not be. I know Kate Daniels' series was like, I think 10, so if that's kind of how she does her series, there might be some left to go. I don't know. Anyway, it was really good. I liked it. Gotta quit rambling and move on to the next one. So the next one is Mouse Heart by Lisa
Feidler, I think, maybe how you say it. I'm not sure. But this was cute. If y'all been on my channel long enough, you know I like my mouse adventures. I like animal adventures, anything, but I don't know why, but I'm particularly fond to the mouse adventure books. And of course, in this one, we have Hopper. At the beginning, he gets separated from his family, and well, it shows at the beginning like his mother gets taken from them, and they're in this pet shop, and there's this guy with a snake, and right then is when they're trying to escape, and they get separated. His sister doesn't like him very well and thinks he's a coward because he didn't want to try to do certain things when they're escaping. He thought, he'd lost them forever, but eventually they do get back together, and his sister is still mean. But anyway, while he's separated from them, he's making his way through being above ground, I guess you could say, and he about gets himself killed, but he gets saved by a rat, and this rat happens to be the prince of like this Ratopia type thing, and they have Atlantia, which is down in the undergrounds. You got like the undergrounds, and then you have the underground. And yeah, so Prince Zucker, and he's like super nice, and he takes Hopper under his wing. He realizes when he sees him that there is something about him that is special, and the Hopper has no idea what it is, and evidently he is from somebody who his father was a chosen one, and so he's like got this whole like prophecy, but he doesn't know anything about it. And the king, the Rat King or whatever it is, Titus, is not a nice rat. And the prince doesn't even like his own father and is trying to do things to thwart anything that the Rat King Titus is doing, because he is basically has a pact with the Cat Queen, and all these other like kind of mislocated small animals. Could be even rats, it could be mice. There were some chipmunks and squirrels and things. They think that they're making these refugee camps for them, but they're not. They're making these camps are hunting grounds for the cats. You wonder why these cats are walking around them without eating them. Well, it's because the king has promised that they'll have these hunts, and these people think but these animals think they're being gathered and chosen from the camps to go to somewhere special. Well, they are, but it's not very special because they are just being rounded up to be put out so the cats can hunt them. It's not nice. So Hopper and the prince and some other like warrior rats and mice or whatever have to try to overthrow all this and everything. And Hopper is supposed to be the chosen one, but he doesn't know quite what he's doing. And so it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I give it 4 stars. It ends not on a cliffhanger. I like it when it ends with stuff is going to happen, but it doesn't end on like a cliffhanger, because there's 3 of them. I think it might be a trilogy. I don't know if it's finished or not. I do believe the last one came out in 2020. And since 2020 is the year that we know, I give, like, I'm never sure if that's it, or if maybe they'll re-up it at a later year, so I'm not sure. But a lot of middle grade books are trilogies series, so I'm thinking it might be a trilogy. Anyway, I can't wait to get to the second one, because I really like this one. And if you like your mice adventures like I do, you might want to try this one, because it was really good. And so, yeah, that is pretty much everything.
Hey everybody, it is Saturday night and I am getting ready to wrap up this vlog, but I have one more book to talk about, and that would be Thanksgiving in Paradise by Cathy Daly. This is the last book. It's number 10 in the TJ Jensen series, and so I can mark one off my SAS list. That's serious about series for those that don't know. And also I can say that, yay, I participated in Hannah from Buggy Reads readathon that she had going this month. Of it was to kind of catch up on some of those series that you only had like a couple of books left in and stuff like that. So that's what I did. And I like this one. I thought it ended rather well for the ending of a series. It had kind of a little bit of a traumatic kind of beginning to it. It starts out like right off the bat with TJ being in the hospital because she was in a bombing and she didn't know what happened at the time she's in there or remember what exactly had went on. She just wakes up in a hospital, and Hunter, which is her friend who she had dated before, was, you know, asking her if she was okay and all that stuff, and she wants to know about Kyle, and he said that that he was okay. He was banged up a little bit, just kind of like she was, but there was some casualties in the bombing, and it was with a gathering of like the council members and things like that this bomb went off. And so of course TJ is curious about what happened and why they would have bombed the council members in a session, you know, that they were in or whatever, and who was behind it. And the one of the ladies that ended up dead, her name was Harriet, I believe. We find out some things about her, and so there's a lot of suspects leaning towards like her, and then there's other things that are happening, and it was really full of a lot of stuff, and also it was full of a lot of family stuff because it is the last book in the series, and so there's no way of like getting around like not saying this. So if you don't want to know like some of the stuff that you would know if you have read all the way up to this point in the series, it's not a spoiler for the book per se, but it could be spoilers for like if you like to read it in order and find out what happens and everything. But I mean, it follows the cozy kind of thing, so I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll know this happens, but I'll put spoilers here, and then whenever it's gone, you'll know I'm done talking about that stuff. But it's got a lot of stuff going on with Kyle and TJ, and them getting together and wanting to get married, but she is the guardian of her two sisters, and so it involves, you know, them and trying to blend a family kind of, because she lives with her father and her grandfather, and she's got her sisters and her father's new lady, and then there's Kyle, and if she was to move out of that situation with Kyle, she'd have to bring the girls, and you know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of family stuff happening and things like that it was really interesting and everything. And so yeah, okay, done with that, no more spoils. But yeah, there's a lot of suspects and things like that to try to figure out. And the interesting thing is I never would have went where that went. There was another mystery involved with this mystery. It was kind of a cold case, and it kind of falls into place with some of the stuff that happened and everything, and so TJ has to figure out things
And yeah, I didn't guess who the killer was. I was a little surprised, and the reasoning behind it was different, I think, than a lot of other cozy mysteries that I've read. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. Overall I really enjoyed the T.J. Jensen series. If you like kind of short cozies, because they're like, most of the audiobooks that I listen to, these are only like about 5 hours, but has a really good story within that, short amount of time, then you should try probably any Cathy Daly's. I've only read this series by her, but I know from listening to other people talk about her, she's really good at putting a really good story in a short amount of time. And so yeah, you should try it. And so yeah, that's the last book that I read for this week, and so I'm just going to kind of wrap up the ones that I read and kind of go over it again like I normally do. And so the first book I have here is The Penderwicks on Gardem Street by Janine Birdsall. It's the second book in the Penderwick series, and it was just okay. I'm just not really big on that day-to-day thing, and I give it 3 stars. And I've thought a lot about it, but I just don't think I'll probably finish the series, because I could just kind of take it or leave it. And then I had Lying Down by Stuart Gibbs, which is the 5th book in the Fun Jungle series. And I really enjoyed that one too, and gave it 4 stars. Overall, I will say I had a pretty good reading week. And then I have Revenge for a Duchess by Sarah Orwig. And this was different. And I give this one 4 stars as well. And of course I had Jane Eyre, but I forgot to get it down, and I gave that one 5 stars, of course. And then Wildfire by Ilona Andrews, so good, gave it 5 stars. And Mouse Heart by Lisa Feidler, I think maybe how you say her name, and it was really cute. I gave it 4 stars. And then the last one, Thanksgiving in Paradise, and of course 4 stars for that one. And so yeah, so a pretty good reading week, I would say. Overall, I think my month has gone really well, so I'm excited about that. And so yeah, have you read any of these books or anything? Let me know down below in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.